Our second speaker is Chola. He was born in Menza, Zambia in 1983. He has a technician certificate in automechanics. He is currently working as parts inventory controller, managing the inventory in a warehouse. He enjoys watching football, playing Scrabble, and reading books. Nathan came to know the Theosophical Society online and began to participate in its activities in Kitwe Lodge 2002. He has attended one convention in Tanzania and looks forward to attending more in the future. The title of Nathan's talk is The Power of Tooth.
Greetings, all. Now present to you the subject power. There is an attracting force radiating from mankind as personal perspective, but it is not a magnetic force so far as the same magnetic field. That which we call personal magnetism is a subtle current of thought waves or thought vibrations projected from the human mind. Every thought created by our mind is a force of greater or lesser intensity, varying in strength according to the impedance passed to it at the time of creation. When we think, we send from us a subtle current, the forceful thought will go on its journey charged with a mighty power and will often bring down the instinctive resistance of the minds of others to outside oppressions. Whereas a weak thought will be unable to obtain an entrance to the mental castle of another, unless that castle be at forward guidance. Repeated thoughts along the same line, saying one after the other, will often effect an entrance where a single thought wave, although much stronger, will be repulsed. It is an exhibition of a physical law in the psychical world and exemplifies the old saying about steady dripping wearing away a stone. We are all influenced much more than we are aware by the thoughts of others. I do not mean by their opinions, but by their thoughts. As many people have said before, thoughts are things. They are things and most power. Unless we understand this fact, we are at the mercy of a mighty force of whose nature we know nothing and whose very existence many of us deny. On the other hand, if we understand the nature and the laws governing this wonderful force, we can master it and render it our instrument and assistant. Every thought created by us, weak or strong, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy, sends out its vibratory waves which affect to a greater or lesser extent those with whom we come in contact or who may come within the radius of our thought vibrations. Thought waves move in constantly widening circles, radiating from a central point. If an impulse projects the thought waves forcefully towards a certain object, its force will be felt more strongly at that point. Besides affecting others, our thoughts affect us, not only temporarily, but also permanently. We are what we think ourselves into being. The biblical statement that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Literally correct. We are all creatures of our own mental creativity. You have noticed how a man's occupation shows itself in his appearance and general character. What created this phenomenon? Nothing more or less than thought. You have changed your occupation, your general character and appearance kept pace with your changed habits of thought. Your new occupation brought out a new train of thought, and thoughts take form in action. You may have never taken this view of the matter, but it is true nevertheless. And you may find ample proof of its correctness by merely looking around you. A man who thinks energy manifests energy. The man who thinks courage manifests courage. The man who thinks I can and I will gets there. Well, the I can't man gets left. We know that to be true. Now, what causes the difference? Thought, just plain thought. But why? Action follows as the natural result of vigorous thinking. You think in earnest, and action does the rest. I wish to state one other very important thing about thought and what is the adaptive power of thought. Avoiding all attempts at a scientific explanation and keeping away from technical terms, I will state the matter plainly. Thoughts attract like thoughts. The good thought attracts other good thoughts. The bad thought attracts the bad. Thoughts of strength attract strength. Thoughts of discouragement and doubt follow the same route, and so is all thoughts. Your thought attracts to it the corresponding thought of others and increase your stock of that particular kind of thought. Think fear thoughts, and you draw to yourself all the fear thoughts. The harder you think it, the greater supply of undesirable thought flocks to you. Think I am fearless, and all the courageous thought force within your radius will move towards you. Fear and hate are the parents of all the bad thoughts. Tear them out by the roots. They spoil the whole garden and breed a host of other weeds, such as worry, doubt, timidity, lack of self-respect, jealousy, malice, envy, and slander. Be open to bright, cheerful, and happy thoughts will fall in the doubt, despair, and dearest friend, and I knew that this message would be my last on earth. I would shout to you as loud as my vocal organs would permit. Let go of fear and hate thoughts. The power of thought can be used in a number of ways in the direction of influencing men gaining success. Different ways used in influencing of men through the use of thought power. One of these are: 1. By the use of the positive thought force in the direction of directly influencing men in person through the law of suggestion, but this one is able to impress men in their schemes and plans, enlist their aid, secure their patronage, and influence them generally. This faculty, natural to all men, can be acquired by anyone. 2. The power of direct thought vibrations set in motion by your mind, which will exert a powerful effect upon the minds of others, unless they understand the secret of guarding against these forces and rendering themselves positive to others. An understanding of this will also enable one to present a positive mental attitude towards the thought waves emanating from the minds of others. 3. By the power of adaptive qualities of thought, which works upon the theory like attracts like. By holding certain thoughts constantly in your mind, you attract to you thoughts and influences of the like nature from the great body of thought surrounding you, unseen but all power. This power is one of the strongest forces in nature, and if properly used, to attract assistance from the most unexpected quarters. Thoughts are things, and possesses a wonderful power of attracting to themselves other thought waves of the same vibratory pitch and quality. In influencing men whom we meet face to face, we affect them in a number of ways, which may be roughly summed up in 3 forms. 1. By direct suggestions through the voice, manner, appearance, and eye. This includes not only voluntary suggestions on our part, but also the suggestions made involuntarily by every earnest person. 2. By thought waves directed to the other person by a voluntary effort of mind. 3. By the adaptive quality of thought resulting from the process of controlled thought of which I spoke in the preceding lesson. This force, once generated, operates involuntarily and constitutes the most striking phase of what we call personal magnetism. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nathan, for showing us how the tools we have influence ourselves and those around us. Indeed, tools have an immense power that we might sometimes forget.